Hey guys, today I'll show you a supernatural horror film named Jukai Village. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a forest ranger driving through the forest near Mount Fuji with his daughter. Suddenly, two little girls emerge from the woods, their clothes filthy and looking as if they haven't eaten in days. When asked, they don't know their parents' names. The ranger and his daughter take the girls home with them, providing food and shelter, and even help contact the police to find their family. Fast forward several years later, Jukai Village has gained notoriety both domestically and internationally. It's said that over 200 people come to take their lives each year, making it a famous spot. Many internet celebrities and vloggers flock to the area to livestream their experiences. Among them is YouTube Girl, who arrives in high spirits, ready to venture into the forest to livestream. Suddenly, she spots a silent man with his head down walking past her. Viewers in the livestream chat suggest that he might be a suicidal person and urge her to save him. She quickly chases after him, but in the blink of an eye, he vanishes into thin air. Having run too hastily, she loses her way and her compass malfunctions. YouTube Girl seeks help from her online audience, who suggests she might be in the center of the Jukai Village. She immediately follows the safety rope she had tied earlier back to her starting point. However, she stops abruptly and sits down, staring blankly ahead. The camera pans to reveal a body hanging from a tree. It's the silent man from before. The corpse suddenly falls from the tree, hurtling towards YouTube Girl, and the live stream abruptly ends. Viewers are abuzz with discussion, and among them is a girl named Hibiki. She is none other than the younger sister of the lost little girl from the beginning of the story. She and her sister May were sent to live with their grandmother after being found. Hibiki possesses the ability to see ghosts, and her traumatic childhood experiences left her mostly silent, prone to sitting alone in a daze, and not attending school. May, on the other hand, grew up normally. The sisters often argue due to their differing personalities, but May is aware of Hibiki's mental state and feels regretful after each argument. One day, May's friend, Miyu, asks for her help with moving to a new house, as she is getting married soon. Her fiancé is their mutual friend, Teru. Another friend, Shinji, is also there to lend a hand. The three of them used to be inseparable, but May secretly had feelings for Teru. However, Teru fell in love with her best friend Miyu, who is now pregnant, making this a shotgun wedding. Shinji has always had a soft spot for May. Hibiki is also brought along to take her mind off things. Strangely, Hibiki is staring at a corner of the wall in the house. Teru goes over to investigate and discovers a hidden door under the wall. He opens it and retrieves a package which contains a peculiar black box. As he is about to open the box, Hibiki suddenly yells at him not to touch it. They search online to find out what the box is used for, and to their surprise, it turns out to be a cursed box. They wonder why such a box would be placed in this house and what kind of grudge might be involved. Shinji's family has been in the business of ghost hunting and exorcism for generations, with his father being a well-known local sorcerer, so Shinji volunteers to break the curse on the box. Just then, the real estate agent arrives, and facing everyone's questions, he probably fears clients' complaints, so he takes the initiative to wrap the box in cloth and leaves, saying he will handle it with no issues. However, as soon as he reaches the road, he is struck and killed by a truck. Everyone panics, unsure of what to do with the box now. The scene shifts to the two sisters, who return home feeling shaken. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. The visitor claims to be a police officer, seeking Hibiki's help in investigating the disappearance of the internet celebrity YouTube Girl. It turns out that YouTube Girl has actually gone missing, and terrifyingly, Hibiki sees YouTube Girl's ghost through the security system, following the two police officers. After the officers leave, some of YouTube Girl's online viewers discuss her disappearance and plan an adventure to the forest where she vanished. Hibiki silently watches the conversation, when suddenly, the avatars of everyone in the chat turn into the image of a suicide victim, and the sound of a baby crying comes through her headphones. Hibiki quickly unplugs the power, but the crying continues. She suddenly realizes something, rushes to find her sister, and tells her that Miyu might be in danger. The two sisters hurried to Miyu's house, and as they feared, Miyu had fallen and lost her child. The seriousness of the situation dawned on everyone, and they knew that they had to deal with the cursed box to prevent further incidents. Once Miyu was discharged from the hospital, they all gathered at Shinji's house, seeking the help of Shinji's sorcerer father to break the curse of the box. That night, everyone stayed at Shinji's place. The two sisters shared a room, but in the middle of the night, Shinji suddenly entered and got intimate with Mei. Sick of their smelly moment, Hibiki left the room and found herself in the living room, where Shinji's father was performing a ritual. Suddenly, a cold gust of wind blew, scattering his sacred texts. Hibiki sensed trouble and turned around to see hundreds of ghosts in the courtyard. She was petrified, but Mei appeared and touched her shoulder, and everything returned to normal. Over the next few days, everything seemed to be back to normal, and Hibiki didn't see any more terrifying sights. She and some online friends decided to visit the forest near Jukai Village to investigate the disappearance of YouTube Girl. As they approached the edge of the forest, Hibiki noticed something strange about the plants and narrowly escaped being caught by a tree root. Sensing danger, she immediately left the area. That night, they all returned home, but Hibiki began to experience nightmares of the cursed box appearing in her room, filled with severed fingers. Meanwhile, Mei was in her room, browsing the internet and drinking beer when Shinji's picture fell off her desk. Suddenly, she heard a loud noise outside and saw a massive fire at Shinji's house. The scene shifted to Shinji and his mother, both severely burned and hospitalized, while Shinji's father perished in the fire. The police reviewed the surveillance footage from that night and shockingly discovered that Hibiki, seemingly sleepwalking with the cursed box, had started the fire at Shinji's house. Hibiki was arrested, but soon she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and was exempted from punishment, being confined to a mental hospital for treatment. Later, Mei found her house covered in curses and slander from the villagers, who called them arsonists. Their friends also stopped talking to Mei. Heartbroken, Mei went home to her grandmother for comfort. Her grandmother recalled that their mother had also suffered from the same condition as Hibiki. Infuriated, Mei blamed her mother for their troubles, remembering how she had tried to take them into the forest to end their lives. Thankfully, a forest ranger had saved them just in time, which is shown at the beginning of the film. The next day, Mei visited Hibiki in the mental hospital. Hibiki whispered to her sister, "That box mustn't be left at home, or everyone in the house will die." According to historical records, if such a mysterious box ended up in a family's possession, the mother had to sacrifice herself, returning the box to the forest to save her family. But Mei didn't heed her sister's words, thinking she was rambling nonsensically. Little did she know, upon returning home, she found their grandmother dead, her eyes wide open in horror and her little finger severed. Meanwhile, terrifying events were also unfolding for Miyu and Teru. Miyu, singing a lullaby to soothe a child, suddenly realized that her own child had been long gone. Looking down, she was shocked to find that she was holding the cursed box. She then, as if possessed, crawled into the secret door where the cursed box was found. On the other side, Mei, grieving her grandmother's death, suddenly found herself in an illusion. She was back to her childhood, with their mother cooking and Hibiki drawing pictures. When their mother asked Hibiki to call her sister for dinner, Hibiki went outside and found that Mei had dug up the cursed box. It turned out that Mei had opened the box long ago, and she was the one who brought the curse. As the scene shifted, Mei woke up. A hand rested on her shoulder, and a voice whispered that Miyu is in trouble. It sounded like Hibiki, but when Mei turned around, no one was there. Without a second thought, she rushed to Miyu's house. Teru anxiously told her Miyu had been missing for a day and a night now. Suddenly, he remembered an app he installed, a location tracker linked to Miyu's phone. Following the tracker, they arrived at the Jukai Village. However, despite searching from dawn till dusk, they couldn't find Miyu. Unexpectedly, they ran into the very same forest ranger and his daughter, who had previously saved Mei and Hibiki. The pair told them the legend of the Jukai Village. Long ago, due to the barren land and years of famine, the villagers were living hand to mouth. To solve this problem, the villagers decided to abandon the old, weak, sick, and disabled in the depths of the Jukai Forest, letting them starve to death as a sacrifice to the gods. So this place has a heavy aura of death. When everyone started asking about the cursed box, the ranger changed the subject, seemingly hiding something. They returned home empty-handed this time. Mei arrived at the hospital to see Hibiki and asked her whether she hadn't burned the box, because the curse was still ongoing. Hibiki replied that the box hadn't disappeared and was still around. She then asked Mei if Mei would be with her if she died. Mei was frightened by her question. Hibiki then stared blankly at the empty space beside her, saying that they kept calling her to go with them. Following her gaze, May looked and almost wet herself in fear when she saw a row of ghosts standing in the cracks of the wall, all staring at Hibiki. Hibiki screamed hysterically for them to leave quickly or they would all be taken away. Hearing the commotion, the doctor rushed in and took Hibiki away. The scene shifted to Shinji and Teru visiting the doctor to inquire about Hibiki's condition. The doctor couldn't provide a clear answer and entered the elevator with a somewhat eerie expression. They didn't give it much thought and prepared to leave the hospital. However, upon exiting the building, they found a severed finger on the ground. Just then, someone fell from the sky, killing him. The person turned out to be the doctor from earlier. Meanwhile, an exploration team entered the forest and discovered Miyu's corpse embedded in a tree trunk. Her body was already half decayed. Seeing their friends either dead or insane, Shinji and Mei felt that life was fragile and fleeting. They decided to live together and enjoy life. One day, while Shinji was chopping vegetables, Mei walked in and saw that he had cut off his own ring finger, seemingly without feeling any pain. Mei quickly called an ambulance, but Shinji used the knife to slit his own throat and died. Unable to bear it any longer, Mei confronted the forest ranger and demanded that he reveal the connection between the Jukai Village and the cursed box. With no other choice, the ranger told her the legend. It was said that people who had attempted to kill themselves but failed in Jukai Forest had established a ghost town called Jukai Village. The box was actually made by the villagers as a curse for those who had abandoned them. The reason for cutting off the ring finger was that it symbolized a promise, which was why wedding rings were worn on that finger. Those who betrayed and abandoned others were not worthy of having a ring finger. This village could only be seen by people with special abilities, such as Hibiki. Upon hearing this, Mei rushed home, lifted the carpet in her sister's room, and found a painting of the Jukai Village. The lighting was too dim, so Mei used her phone's camera to illuminate the painting. To her horror, dozens of faces were recognized in the camera's viewfinder. As she took a photo of the painting, images of people cutting off their fingers in Jukai Village flashed through her mind. Mei screamed and returned to reality, only to find the cursed box in front of her again. At that moment, she remembered Hibiki's words, thinking that she had to return the cursed box to break the curse. So Mei went back to the Jukai Forest with the box. At first, nothing seemed unusual. However, just as she placed the box down, a disheveled woman emerged from the forest across from her, looking like a lost tourist. Actually, this was the missing YouTube girl. Then Mei saw several more people approaching. They were Hibiki's friends who had gone exploring. They seemed to have been lost in the forest for quite some time. Mei told them she had left markers and could lead them out of the forest. But as they climbed over a small hill, Mei felt something was off. She turned around to find everyone had disappeared. When she looked up, she was shocked to see the bodies of the group were hanging from the trees, already decomposing. Mei fainted from shock. When she woke up, she found herself trapped in a tree hollow with the deceased Teru and Miyu standing beside her. They told her to stay with them and live together, adding that her sister would be joining them soon, and they could all be together. As Miyu moved to cut Mei's ring finger with scissors, Mei's mother appeared. She took the scissors and said she would do the cutting. A bloodied finger fell to the ground, and cracks began to form on the floor. From the cracks emerged many plant-like humanoids, who cheered in celebration of the new member's arrival. However, in the darkness, Mei's mother secretly untied her daughter. It turned out that she had secretly cut off her own pinky finger in the beginning. With her mother's help, Mei managed to escape, but accidentally fell into a trap. Mei felt a sense of familiarity with the scene and remembered that her mother hadn't gone mad years ago. Instead, Mei had opened the cursed box, bringing misfortune upon them. It turned out her mother had tried to remove the curse by bringing Mei and Hibiki to return the box, but they were attacked by tree spirits. Her mother had willingly sacrificed herself to buy time for her daughters to escape. However, Mei had been too young to remember this event. The scene returned to the present with the evil spirits surrounding the pit, ready to devour Mei. At that moment, Hibiki's soul left her body and helped her sister climb out of the pit. They ran for their lives, but were still pursued by the evil spirits. In the nick of time, Hibiki's body cut off her own ring finger, sacrificing herself to save Mei. Mei finally escaped and went on to live with Shinji, who did not die, and they had a lovely daughter together. However, the movie ends with their daughter finding the cursed box while playing, indicating another misfortune is awaiting them ahead. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.